Hi, ladies. I have read your matrices today and have provided feedback to you in Blackboard specific to your submitted work. If you were successful in the matrix, then you are good to move on to part three. We'll talk more about that next week, but the general gist of part three is for you to provide an analysis of your findings in the articles that you reviewed, explain how they are related to your PICO question, and then go through the process of answering your PICO question using your scholarly support. So that part three is tell me what you found, grouping common articles, similar themes, using level headings to organize them. And then the next step is to do an analysis and say, this is what my PICO question was, and based on my summary, what I found in these groups of articles, this is how my PICO question is answered. So it kind of has two parts. Start thinking about how that looks, what that feels like, what your thoughts are about your PICO question. Did you find what you thought you'd find? Did you answer the question that you thought in a way that you thought you would answer it? I would encourage you, as time permits over the next week, to start doing your analysis. I want to remind you that an article analysis is not article titled this and this is what they said. Article titled this and this is what they said. It's not telling me what 15 or 20 articles are saying. What your analysis should be is thematically organized summaries. So if you have 20 articles and let's say you decided to include 18 of them, and of the 18, 3 of them talked about concept-based curriculum. And they used undergraduate students and similar sample sizes, and they all found that instructional strategy was highly effective in student retention. Okay, well, you're going to spend a paragraph saying exactly that using combined in-text citations of concept-based teaching strategies are highly effective for students' learning outcomes, parentheses, and cite those 3 sets of articles using in-text citations in a combined format. Start thinking about what a scholarly integrative literature looks like. If you have not read a systematic integrative literature review, do that before you try to write one. It's okay to start trying to do the analysis now as a first step to part 3. If you have struggled with part 1, it is likely to have translated into a struggle in the matrix. I have provided feedback for you to contact me. Please do so. Please do not start part 3 until part 1 and part 2 are correct. Want to remind you that part 3, when you're done, will include part 1 and part 3. You're not going to have to resubmit your matrix unless I've specifically asked you to do that already. The final product is a polished paper about your research problem, your research question, your methodology, your summary or analysis of what you found, and then the answering of your PICO question. Your matrix won't be resubmitted. That's a tool for you to develop your understanding of the research out there and to guide your writing. All of this needs to be done well before you try to do your poster. This is a sequential process. So if part 1 was not fabulous, part 3 will not be fabulous if you don't go back to part 1 and fix it. So that is the expectation. So know that I'm here if you have questions or concerns. If in your matrix I've said to you, this article doesn't apply, this article may not be relevant, this is the wrong level of evidence to use in your analysis, if I have provided that feedback to you and your remaining articles is below 15, you're going to need to go back into the literature and find an appropriate replacement article. So just take the time to review the feedback that's been provided to you on the matrix. Make sure that you have 15 good articles to start your analysis with. Okay, let's talk about next week. If your portfolio has 2 parts, you're going to do your service section and then your final section of your artifacts. Your service section covers professional community and faith community service. If for some reason there is one of those that simply you have not done, let's say that you have not done community service, don't put none in your portfolio. In the comment section, simply leave me a note that says, Dr. Hudgens, I've not been able to be in my community in a service in a service role, so that section has been omitted. It is not preferred, but life happens. So if you genuinely have not been able to be of service in those 3 areas, just let me know that you didn't skip it, but that you actually omitted it intentionally. Be very thoughtful about the things you do that are considered service. Have you been on a mission trip? Do you coach basketball? Do you serve in support of the Girl Scouts? Do you coordinate a blood drive? Are you a parish nurse? Do you teach Sunday school? All those things that you may be involved in, all of those things count as service. When you think of professional service, consider the committees that you serve on. Have you been involved in the Week of the Nurse committee? Are there things that you have done outside of your scope of practice as a nurse that have served the community that you work for? So think about that in that context. The artifacts, a couple of weeks ago, I told you to start looking for artifacts, and that one of the required artifacts was your goals and objectives that had been updated with the dates. I realized that in the course copy, when the course was updated with the new textbook, that for some reason the correct file for that requirement was not added to your course, and it was missed when we reviewed it. So while I expressed that was a requirement, those aren't the instructions that you have online. So you're going to only be held accountable to the instructions and the rubric that are posted in your course. And the one you have does not require you to go back through and update your goals and objectives with dates of completion as a required artifact. If you've done that thinking that Dr. Hudgens said so, God bless you. And you can use that as an artifact. That's a perfect example of your professional expertise. Because you really have been polishing your role as an educator. If you have not done that and it just makes your head hurt to try to think about having to go through and put all those dates in, it is not required. That's not the syllabus you were given. So we're going to hold you accountable for the one that you were given. If you are going to use a video or a photo, know that those should be embedded, not attached. You should not have somebody downloading a photo or a video. First of all, most of your readers won't download it. Like if you sent it outside the college and used it for a professional reason, they're not going to download it. I'm going to send you some instructions. They're on, someone asked that on the Ask the Professor link, but I realized that I don't want to send you on a bunny trail trying to find it. So I'm going to send it to you in this email. So you have those instructions on how to embed a photo or a video. If you struggle with that, call the help desk because it may vary depending on the version and the type of system that you're using. So try using the instructions I'm giving you. They work most of the time. Every once in a while, we have someone that has an older machine or an older version of the software and it just struggles. So if you try it once, try it twice. If it doesn't work after that, give the help desk a call and they'll walk you through it. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. We are heading in to week 6. So, your practicum logs. Make sure that you have looked at feedback from practicum log number 1 and you have applied it you plan to apply it to log number 2. And please make sure that your time logs are correct and that they are reflecting progression towards those 200 hours. We cannot certify your transcript until all of your practicum hours have been done. So make sure that they are properly documented. Nothing's jumping out in my mind thinking that we have any red flags, but please go double check that. If you have questions or concerns, please know that I'm here. If this integrative literature review is just wearing you out, know that it is hard. It is not impossible, but that if it feels hard, if it feels like dealing with a foreign animal, you haven't done this before. So be gentle with yourself if you're having to reread and reread instructions and really think about this. I was talking with a student earlier, and they were talking about how challenging this has been, and I want to encourage you that when we're growing, we're being challenged, and that if this was easy, it wouldn't be a master's degree. Now, that does not mean that this needs to be horribly painful and that you should not be capable of doing this, but it's a stretch. So be okay with the stretch. Don't panic. Don't feel like you're by yourself. This is hard stuff. And if you are navigating it and your head is above water and you are still digging in and trying to figure this out, you're going to get this. Just hang in there. Reach out to me. Use the Ask the Professor link, as I've said, for general questions, and then reach out to me personally with questions that are specific to you. Know that I'm here. Know that I'm praying for you. I know you are tired, but God's got this. You're going to get through this, and you are not alone. So let me know how I can support you. Y'all have a great rest of the week.